Get your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.
Creating an expense is a simple way to enter company expenses not entered into one of the other transaction expense forms, like the check window. To create an expense, click the Create button and then click the Expense link under the vendor's heading in the drop-down menu to open the expense window. Use the Choose a Payee drop-down in the upper left corner of the page to select the name of the person paid by this expense. Use the Account drop-down to the right to select the account to use to pay the expense. The balance of the selected account appears to the right. Enter the date of the expense into the Payment Date field. Then use the Payment Method drop-down to select the method of payment. If needed, you can enter a reference number, like a check number, into the Reference Number field at the right side of the window. To enter an expense related to an account and not tied to any products and/or services from your products and services list, use the Account Details section. You can click the black arrow by the label for this section to expand and collapse this section. The columns shown in the Account Details section are Account, Description, Amount, Billable, Tax, and Customer. You can click into the Account column and then use the drop-down to select the account to use. You can enter a description of the expense to that account into the Description field. Then enter the amount to attribute to that account into the Amount field. If the amount is billable to a specific customer and you want to invoice them later for it, check the Billable checkbox. To associate the amount with a specific customer, select a customer from the Customer column in that row. Repeat this process to allocate the total expense amount to the necessary accounts. To delete a row that you have entered, click the trash can icon at the right end of the row to delete. You can also click the Add Lines and Clear All Lines buttons below this section to add more rows or clear all information from the existing rows. To enter an expense for items created in the Products and Services list that also have purchasing information associated with them, select the items from the Item Details section. Because those items are already associated with expense accounts, the related expense information for the items you select is tracked by simply entering the items into this section. The columns in the Item Details section are Product Service, Description, Quantity, Rate, Amount, Billable, Tax, and Customer. Click into the Product Service column and then use the drop-down to select the item to buy. The information for the line item should appear in the adjacent columns, however you can edit the information or change it as needed. Then enter the quantity, rate, and/or amount of the line item into the Quantity, Rate, and/or Amount fields. Like account expenses, you can also associate a line item with a specific customer by selecting them from the Customer columns drop-down. If the item is billable back to the selected customer and you want to invoice them for it later, check the Billable checkbox. Then repeat this process to enter all the other line items to buy into this section. Also, like the accounts, you can use the trash can button at the right end of any row to delete that row. You can also use the Add Lines and Clear All Lines buttons below this section to add more rows or clear all information from the existing rows. To add a note about the expense, enter it into the Memo field. To attach files to the expense, use the Attachments field. The buttons in the toolbar at the bottom of the page are used to manage the expense. To cancel the expense, click the Cancel button. To clear the expense window, click the Clear button. To create a recurring expense, click the Make Recurring button to open a page that lets you set the recurrence pattern. To save the expense, click the Save button. To save the expense and then close the window or open a new window, use the Save in New and/or Save and Close drop-down button.
Like what you see? Pick up your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.